Yeah, man. Good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone. I don't know, first time live doing the morning insider, yeah. And the card, I mean, the house, man, it's a good look. But there again, people, checking in. Yeah, man. Sorry about that. But yeah, first time doing the morning insider live. You don't know, I have a little time on my hands, so decided, no prayer card, jump on a live. Yeah. Yeah, don't know. We're going to check in on everything that's happened, man, over the weekend, yeah. Everything that's happened over the weekend and a little early news, FIFA schedule for the FIFA World Cup to be announced next week. Is that next weekend, I think? February the 4th, yeah. But um I don't know where to start, man, because so much news, so much excitement, saw what happened, in the FA Cup, National League South team, Maidstone, sixth division, beat Ipswich Town, a team that's always looking, to go on to the Premier League, in that championship race to get promoted, CR7 Messi last dance in the Riyadh Cup, yeah, in Saudi Arabia, supposed to take place later today, the first game, Al Hilal versus Inter Miami at 1 p.m. If you guys have like, the MLS subscription or the DAZN subscription, you guys can watch that game also. And Xavi Hernandez, the veteran at Barcelona, yeah, the last dance, the last couple of months left before the Spaniard walk away from the Catalonian club. The urgent club also said, he's going to leave at the end of the season. It's going to be a big, big transfer season coming summer for managers. So many managers, doing good this season. A few managers now, two in the English Premier League, one in the English Premier League, one in the Spanish La Liga. You have two in the Italian Serie A. Coaches came up that this will be their last season, at their respective club. Xavi Alonso have dropped points for the first time since December the 10th in the Bundesliga as Borussia Mönchengladbach held the Leverkusen team at home 0-0. So many chances, so many opportunities, so many shots, Leverkusen created in that game. Nothing couldn't go in, man. It's just one of them games that that it doesn't matter what you do, the ball will never go in. And Bayer Leverkusen, faced that over the weekend. So the Bundesliga title race is up and charged right now as Bayern Munich close the gap, to 2 points after, impressive win away to Augsburg, in the German cold. But next up, I have some tournaments, that's coming up, on the morning insider. The AFC Champions League, that's the Asian Champions League, that will kick off February 3rd. So, look out for that. The recap, Cristiano Ronaldo is there. Those teams from Australia and Japan is also in it. So, most of the big clubs, inside the Pro League, is in that tournament. You have the CONCACAF Champions League, yeah? The CONCACAF Champions League resume February 6th next week. That, Cavalier or Cincinnati at the National Stadium. I think that game, that game might play a week after kickoff, probably around February 20th. Let's look, before I said anything wrong, but I know Cavalier and Cincinnati, yeah, February 22, Thursday, yeah, that game will kick off, at the National Stadium, hosting the MLS team in the CONCACAF Champions League first round. But, I think Monterrey is a team that going to kick off the Monterrey and Communiques, going to kick off the CONCACAF Champions League February 6th, yeah? And Club America will travel to Esteli FC, But look out for that. Lionel Messi, yeah, is in the CONCACAF Champions League. Also, Inter Miami. Next up, the MLS resume February 21st. Inter Miami will open the MLS season, home to Real Salt Lake. You don't know the MLS, everybody is marketing this league around Inter Miami as they are the big dogs, in the MLS. They are the one that come with the big money, the big packages. So don't surprise, Inter Miami open MLS season as they will take so at Salt Lake. Saw when the fixtures announced, I think a couple of weeks about, yeah. Kansas City, yeah, also moved their home game, where they played at home. Normally it's 21,000 at Kansas City home field, but the Inter Miami is coming home, so they moved the game to the Kansas Chief. That's the NFL stadium where it holds around 70 plus thousand. So you see the money is growing, because of the likes of Lionel Messi is in town. But the Women's Gold Cup, kicks off February 20. Also going to look into that as well. First edition of the CONCACAF Women Gold Cup, and my country is not there, man. It's so sad. It's so sad that the Reggae Girls won't take part in the Women's Gold Cup this season. It kicks off February 20. But a little bit of Jamaican news, man. Nico Bread, 32-year-old is on the move, from Birmingham Legions, that team that he played for twice now in his career. He finally, part ways with the club. He moved to Memphis. Yeah, Memphis. Remember, Nico Brett is formerly of an Excelsior player. I think he got drafted for Portland Timbers. Only make one appearance for the first team. Played a couple of games for Timbers too. Played. I think for Pittsburgh Rovers. So much teams. And he is the third leading goal scorer in the USL. He scored over 80 goals. He's played over 200 games, in the USL. But such a dominant player, in the USL, still can't get a look in the MLS. I don't know. I don't know if because of lack of agency work, or I don't know if links. Our links do all of this, but yeah, Nico Brett is on the move, to Memphis with a multi-year deal. You don't normally sign a 2+ year contract in the US. And as a 32-year-old, he signed a 2-year deal plus 1 year, in like the club have a clause where they can extend his contract to another year. But it's crazy. It's crazy that Nico Brett, time is flying. Nico Brett is 32 years old. I remember I was going to high school and watching Nico Brett in the Manning Cup, and he was a wonderful player. Yeah, he was a wonderful player. Remember Nico Brett came, to my high school when I think they beat Calabar 5-1. Calabar at that time, Nico Brett scored a trick, but really, really, really good player, man. A really good player. I love that player. I used to watch him, but still can't. I don't know why Nico Brett just can't get a look in the MLS yet. But I understand that some players that in the USL actually on big salary, and going up to the MLS, players, especially like Nico Brett, will fill that salary cap. So sometimes clubs just don't want to take a risk on these players, but on the other hand, the MLS players willing to give the South American and the Central American players big wages, but could see that the Jamaicans international are reducing in the MLS. It's just only a handful of us right now in the MLS. But other Jamaican news, the Jamaican Premier League, yeah, big news, big news over the weekend. Mullins United beat Mullins United beat Umberland, yeah. Treasure Beach, lost at home to Portmore 3-1. Mount Pleasant beat Dumble Olin at Ferdinand Park 2-1, yeah. Mount Pleasant keeps scoring these early goals as, they scored in the 36th second of the game against Treasure Beach last weekend at home. Now, Daniel Green scored in the second minute. Shaquille Bradford, the formerly of Waterhouse and Harborview player, just got transferred to Mount Pleasant, scored his first goal in the blue and white. Cavalier with the depleted squad, beat high flying Montego Bay United at Stadium East last night. You don't know the jungle is out later. Yeah, the junglist will play later against Stars of the East. That will be a big, big, big game. Big game later. And VR United also played, Tivoli in that first game, but the junglist will play Monday Night Football. One more. I think I have two more news. Khadija Bonisha, scored again over the weekend against Tottenham Hotspur's women team. Rebecca Spencer also played for that team. She was rubbing the bench during that time when Khadija Bonisha was scoring goals. But yeah, that's her 13 goals, of the season. Yeah, 13 goals in 11 games with around 2 assists. Also, Shamar Bowes and Nicholson, got on the score sheet against Patrick Vieira men, Strasbourg, when they draw at home, they actually came back, in the game. Clermont Foot is fighting for their life in the French league. But I have to say, something about, Khadija Bonisha, because I think 20 goals in the league last season and scored around close to around 30 goals, overall, for Manchester City women team. She's rising fast, she is rising fast. When you look around, the rest of women's league in the world, you look in Barcelona, you have the Norwegian, Hansen, who scored 11, 12 goals already in the women La Liga. When you look at the French striker that playing for Paris Saint-Germain, when you look at Diani, played for Lyon, these players, Bonisha have been outscoring them. Like individually, she have been playing really excellent. Yeah, she got the nominee for the Ballon d'Or. She got PFA. She got into the PFA Team of the Year. So all of these little nomination and these little awards, it's not like it just came up. She has been nominated, in these Team of the Year, since she was at Bordeaux in the French league. So Khadija Bonisha, man, she right now, there's no doubt about it. She's the best striker in the world right now. There is no doubt about it. But I think what's the problem now with Khadija Bonisha to win more individual accolades in terms of like player of the season, getting that top three of the Ballon d'Or. So the Reggae Girls, we know what's happening with the Reggae Girls. We know, what's happening with Manchester City. The team is building. Yeah, the team is building. They finished outside of the Champions League last season. I think they finished behind United. I think they finished fourth last season. I think behind United in that last qualification Champions League spot. In England, they right up there right now behind Chelsea. So as soon as, probably a couple more seasons when she can start to play in the Champions League week in, week out, Manchester City team going to get better. Hopefully, things can work out the way how it's supposed to work out with Khadija Bonisha in the Wrecker Girls. Hope we can set up, that team, that midfield structure around her where, we can create more chances for her, and go into the World Cup and actually scoring goals, But I think those are the little major things that, is stopping Khadija Bonisha from winning the major individual awards. But she just need to win more trophies. I think Manchester City only win the League Cup last season, so they're right up there right now. So I think, City will go on to the Champions League the way how Khadija is scoring and the way how they playing and they recruiting well. Also on the flip side, yeah, Chelsea women team also, but who remember that Colombian, that played against the Reggae Girls, in the World Cup, like in few months ago. Yeah, she is the record signing in women football at 450,000 pound. Chelsea signing for her, and Chelsea already have, loads of players. Lauren James, yeah, the English winner. She is the one that behind Khadija Bonisha on the league on the leaderboard table. She's 11 goals, Bonnie's on 13. So most of these big players, another player, Sophia Smith, for the US, played for the Portland Thorns last season. She scored 11 goals. Yeah. So I just said Ensign, the Norwegian player for Barcelona. Ainata, the Japanese player that won the Golden Boot of the FIFA Women's World Cup. Last year she scored 7 goals. But when you packages all these players, Khadija is doing fantastically well. And when you look on how she's scoring goals, she used to be weaker on the left side. Now she just seems to scoring more and more goals on her left side. Yeah, and she's dominant. We saw last, I think, a month and a half, she scored a perfect hat trick, one on the left, one on the right, and one on the head. So she's doing really good, man. So Shama Nicholson, yeah, I've scored again for Clermont Foot in the French League. As Clermont is battling for their life right now in the French Liga. I think they're 1 point below Lyon, who is in, 1 point behind Lyon, who is in that playoff position, in the French Liga. But Clermont Foot next couple of games is going to be really difficult because the rest of games, the next 5 games will be against teams in the top half of the table. Strasbourg is in the top half of the table. Yeah. And they drew that one at home. They're going to go away to Lille. Next, they will home to Brest. Saw what happened with Brest and Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain leading 2-0 at home, and Brest came back and drew that game, 2-2. So they will play home to Brest. They will travel away to Rennes. They will play away to Nice. They will play home to Marseille. So after that, they have a couple of games that winnable, but it's just not going to get easy for the Jamaican international. Yeah, he's going to have to buy his chances in the French league, as he's doing really good. But one thing though, I have to say, with Shama Nicholson team, it's not a strong team. They're missing around 3 to 4 players who is playing in the African Cup of Nations. They have another player out, so it's a weaker team. The French players are starting and they're not creating, enough goals. As he also himself could have scored a brace yesterday. I don't know how he missed that opportunity. A mistake from the Strasbourg, defenders, and he got a clear open goal. The ball actually beat the keeper, but the defender cleared the ball off the line, just before he scored. So yeah, he's going to have to, buy his time. But the team, I think, needs to play with a little bit more width, as they tend to play a little bit more narrow. They tend to get less crosses in the box, and that kind of stagnant for Shama Nichols, not getting enough service in that box. But yeah, that's it, for a little bit about the Jamaicans news. But I have one very, very interested one, yeah, in the Belgium Pro League. Genk and Anderlecht going to play a replay, after that game. I think that game played December the 23rd, where Genk awarded a penalty, and the Anderlecht player actually run in the box, and video review and all of that go back, and they decide that they're going to replay back the game in full. So I don't know where football is going from here, man. I really don't know, where it's going from here, because they said that the VAR, it was a malfunction, it was a misunderstanding with the VAR room, and VAR here to change the game, and VAR is messing up the game. I don't know. They're just not using the technology or they should be using it. Like, how you miss, a player that run in the box when a penalty kick was taken. It's just crazy. But a 62-year-old got charged in England, after Port Vale and Portsmouth played in the English League One. Portsmouth got a penalty in the last, and they scored, and the fans run on the pitch and actually start to abuse the referee, and he got charged. He's going to go in the English court next week, they said. But young grandfather, man, not taking that defeat at home against Portsmouth, so he decided to take it up on his own and and abuse the referee. Yeah, but another news, FIFA to announce the World Cup schedule in New York, February the 4th. So FIFA, the World Cup schedule are going to announce where the game's going to play in different cities, and all of that. So, but it says FIFA is going to announce the schedule of which city gets which World Cup games in 2026. Yeah, and the millions in visitors spending is going to come occurred in the FIFA World Cup. But 16 host cities are already, you guys know: Atlanta, Boston, Dallas, Houston, Kansas, Los Angeles, Miami, New York, Philly, Houston, Seattle, Vancouver, Toronto, Guadalajara, Mexico, and Monterrey. Yeah, so some big news coming up, for FIFA lovers who is planning, their World Cup journey. Yeah, it's going to start February the 4th when you guys actually know where your country's going to play. But finance and a little bit economic impact, yeah. So FIFA actually came out during that same article. They said, this World Cup going to generate more than 5 billion US dollar. That's crazy. And actually, the last FIFA World Cup final between France and Argentina, 1.5 billion viewers view that game. Wow, FIFA is making that bread. I see why FIFA can actually give, all federation that amount of money, to keep up their footballing structure. But another thing, 40,000 jobs will be available in the World Cup coming the next 2 years from now. Yeah, so look out, a lot of jobs coming into the US, But one thing I saw, kind of like a eye opening for me, the US cities, to foot the bill for, like, so basically what they're saying that the US cities foot the bills, most of the money that going to generate from each city is going to come from taxpayers' money. I don't know how, the US citizens going to deal with that, but what happened in Qatar is, Qatar is a very rich country. The prince have loads of money. They don't know what to do with money. So it's easy for Qatar to build 8 stadiums, and those 8 stadiums are just 30 minutes from each other. So they have all the finance, they have the backing, but the US, they have a lot of stadiums like the NFL stadium. They are very huge, like, but they're still going to need, a little refurbishing, a little, fix up the field. The surface going to have to be changed, and they also going to have a watch party for the FIFA World Cup, 35 to 40 straight days non-stop. So it's going to be crazy, crazy over here in America a couple years from now. Yeah, but that's it, for that little FIFA news. But the Riyadh Cup, yeah, the Riyadh Cup is on today. Inter Miami will also play Al Hilal. Mitrovic is on show later versus Lionel Messi and friends. Cristiano Ronaldo will play Inter Miami February 1st. So, first game. This game is supposed to be, a three-way games where Neymar, Messi, and Cristiano Ronaldo, played in this little preseason tournament. But, the great Neymar is out injured, always on the injury table. But move on. We're going to go to the motherland. Yeah, the motherland where the African Cup of Nations is playing right now. Look, man. This is one of the best African Cup I've ever played. Yeah, this is the best African Cup I have ever watched. It's so excited. It is so excited to see so many teams. Yeah, is doing wonderful job. Beating some of the big dogs in the African Cup of Nations. So, and another thing, I realize most of the North African teams are struggling in the heat in West Africa, as I think I think a North African country never yet won the African Cup of Nations in West Africa. I have to check that out. But yeah, that's a thing where North African teams, like Tunisia, Algeria, Egypt, Morocco, they tend to struggle whenever the African Cup of Nations played in West Africa. But yeah, yesterday, Angola beat Namibia in that round of 16 3-0. As Namibia, they played with most of the games with level men. Meanwhile, Angola got a red card in the first half of the game, and right after they got that red card, Angola scored. Yeah, Angola scored not one but twice. and he scored 2 times, and then right after Namibia got a red card, and then Angola just decided that hey, the game is even. We're going to take the game to another level, and Namibia couldn't survive. As you know, Namibia, this is their first ever knockout stage of African Cup of Nations. Nigeria also beat Ivory Coast, the host in the African Cup of Nations. Ivory Coast is struggling. Fire their coach right after he got 4-0 defeat, to Equatorial Guinea, in the group stage. But they also was waiting on if they're going to make it to the round of 16. Also, yeah, they make it, but they didn't. That didn't stop them from fire their coach, the Frenchman. I think he's 72 years old, and they coached by a former player, who was the assistant coach for that manager. Yeah, so Nigeria is through to the quarterfinals, where Nigeria will play Angola on February 2nd. Yeah. So look out, that's going to be a really good game. Nigeria versus Angola. And next up, Equatorial Guinea versus Guinea. Yeah, the Guinea Derby, the Guinea Derby people. So you have about four countries in Africa named Guinea. You have Equatorial Guinea, you have Guinea, that's the original Guinea, as they said in Africa. You have Guinea-Bissau. You have Conakry, Guinea. So you have four countries, in Africa named Guinea. But one thing stands out. Equatorial Guinea is the only country in Africa that naturally speaks Spanish. As they got just like Jamaica, got that independence from the British in the 60s. In Equatorial Guinea also got their freedom in 1968, in October from the Spaniards. So yeah, the Spaniard was the last, rulers of Equatorial Guinea. So that's how they speak Spanish. But it's crazy that's only one country in Africa speaks Spanish. Such a big continent, yeah. But Africa overly populated with dominance over the years with the French. But yeah, but get to the back to football. Equatorial Guinea has lost one of the big dogs in that group stage where they won all 3 games, in that group stage but everyone thought this is going to be, a rollover for Equatorial Guinea, but Guinea have stopped their rival country 1-0. This goal scored in the 90th minute. In the 90th minute, so many African games over this tournament have been scoring late goals. I think this is the 15 times a goal have been scoring from over the 90-minute period to the end of the game, the 15 times. So a whole lot of goals have been scoring in the African Cup, in the 90th minute. But I must say though, Equatorial Guinea, yeah, they're a big striker. What's his name? I think his name is Enso. He missed a penalty also to put his team in the lead. But when I was watching this game though, Equatorial Guinea created so many opportunities for themselves. The marksman in the tournament so far, he scored 5 goals. He got like 3 opportunities where he could have easily, slot in one of those goals. But I guess it wasn't their day, and Guinea took their opportunity and they scored and killed off one of the big giants. But I have something about Equatorial Guinea. So Equatorial Guinea, this is the third time facing a team in the African Cup of Nations, for the first time. So they did so in the group stage 1-1 again. I think 1-1 against Nigeria. But I also said Equatorial Guinea have won all 3 games. No, they won 2 and drew with Nigeria. So they and Nigeria finished on 7 points in that group. But this is the third time facing a team for the first time in African Cup of Nations. They do so against Nigeria. They do so against Guinea-Bissau. And they won that game 4-2. Now, in the round of 16, they played Guinea for the first time in African Cup match. So, yeah, that's some little history right there. And also, this is the 4th time in the African Cup of Nations. In their last 4 African Cup of Nations, Guinea has qualified for the knockout stage 2012, 2015, 2021, and 2023, which is now. And, Guinea, this is their 4th time in the knockout round, yeah? They lost 2-1 versus Mali in 2004. In 2005, they got 5-0. They got 5-0 and Cote d'Ivoire beat them 5-0. Ivory Coast which is Ivory Coast. Same way in 2021, Gambia have beaten them in that round of 16. So, they finally broke that drinks. So Guinea are through to that round, that in that quarterfinal, and Guinea will go on to play DR Congo. And next up, we have DR Congo versus Egypt. I don't know, man. This is one of the worst Egyptian team I ever seen. Yeah, this is one of the worst Egypt, especially with no Mo Salah. Trezeguet is still there, but he's up in age right now, not playing on his best. But I don't know when Egypt going to win the next African Cup. Especially Mo Salah. This his best time in his prime here to win the African Cup of Nations, man. But he got injured. In I think the second group game of the African Cup. But Mohamed Abu Kabal missed that penalty kick, to keep his team in the African Cup of Nations. But big win, big win for DR Congo. Yeah, it's a big win, massive win for them. They will go on, as I said, will face Guinea in that quarterfinal. But we're going to move on, to the FA Cup. Yeah. How many times, I've talking about FA Cup, about these smaller teams, yeah? These smaller teams, man, Maidstone in that FA Cup, beating Ipswich Town, the team that's fighting for promotion in the championship, yeah? Kieran McKenna team got stunned at home by, a Cameroonian coach, former player of Maidstone, Cameroon International, yeah? 2-1 victory, Ipswich home. I don't know, man. It's... the funny thing, the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes of this game, it was all Ipswich Town. As Maidstone is sit back, holding off the pressure. Ipswich is playing really good right now in the championship, but somehow, so many teams over this weekend played and they created so many opportunities, not scoring goals, taking a lot of shots and goal, but just couldn't find the winner or the clincher, in that game. And Maidstone took the opportunity. Yeah, the Jamaican born, not a Jamaican international, but he born in Kingston. He left Jamaica when he was 7, and live and reside now in the UK. But he opened the scoring for Maidstone in that tie in the fourth round. And Ipswich, came back, but the man who scored in the third round away to Stevenage, Corney, he scored again back to back in the FA Cup. So the 6th division team is flying high right now in the FA Cup. To be honest, it's massive, man. It's massive for them, man. Maidstone have generated over £400,000 already in prize money in the FA Cup. That's huge for a team in the National League South. They actually in that playoff spot fighting to go on to to the 5th division, which is the National League in the English Pyramid. But giant killing team, they will go on to face either Sheffield Wednesday or Coventry. Both of those teams have Reggae Boys International, Deshaun Bernard for Sheffield, Wednesday, Casey Palmer and Joe Latibo there, for Coventry. They also played, over the weekend, and their game drew 0-0. They will actually go on to play that replay. But yeah, Maidstone is waiting for them. They're going to travel away to one of those teams. So if Maidstone can get through to the quarterfinal, they will be the second team. Is it the second team? Yeah, they will be the second team in modern time right now. But Lincoln City have done it 2015, 2016, where they went to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. Yeah, I think they got beaten. I think it might be Burnley or Sheffield. One of those teams, Premier League team, they got beaten in the quarterfinal, yeah, in the FA Cup. But it have never been done, for the last 8 years. So if Maidstone can pull off another victory in the 5th round, it will be another 200,000 in prize money, not including gate receipts. So it's big money for those teams, yeah, in the FA Cup. It's really huge for them. But one thing though, I would love to see, the FA change a little bit about FA Cup. Just like how the German, the German do with the DFB Pokal, yeah, that little their knockout tournament where the highest seeding teams always played away to the smaller teams. So, if like Bayern Munich played a third division team where they got I think 3-1, they got 3-1 in the DFB Pokal. I would love to see, just like a United player Newport County from the League Two travel away. So all the big teams in England, just the ISC teams travel away in the fixtures, and that will be a little bit more interested, in the FA Cup, as sometimes, the smaller teams tend to fail, when they travel to, the Premier League grounds or the Championship ground, just to, lighten up, the knockout tournament a little bit more, and also can take away, the replays, but again, the replay, it's kind of old school, for the English, yeah, because the smaller teams actually like the replay. Yeah, you saw what Newport County, pull 2-2 with United in just after the 47th minute. They scored an equalizer goal, and they will be over the moon if they could have drawn that game 2-2 and go to Old Trafford and play that replay. And they probably more likely they're going to lose that game. But just for them to travel, to Old Trafford and play a team in the Premier League, it will be just astonishing for that team. But yeah, I don't think the FA will ever change the FA Cup. I think they changed. One something a few years ago. They cut out. So once the FA Cup reaches fifth round, there is no replay. There's no replay. So if you draw the game, I'm actually go to 15 minutes, then penalty. But yeah, some other news. City have beaten Spurs, 1-0 at Spurs Stadium. First time scoring a goals there. Also, Leon Bailey, Aston Villa have draw away to Stamford Bridge. The replay will play on February 7th. Sheffield and Coventry, I said that. The replay will play on February 6th. Liverpool, what a reaction from Jurgen Klopp announcing that he's going to leave at the end of the season. Yeah, Jurgen Klopp team beat Norwich City 5-2. Actually, Norwich was actually playing really, really good, in that game. They were pulling some strings. Yeah, they were pulling some strings, but Liverpool was just too dominant for that team. Darwin Núñez for the last couple of games now looking like he is that marksman Liverpool is going to depend on from now on until in the future. But he's been impressive. His finishing is improving. Darwin Núñez, he has one of the worst missed opportunities in the Premier League this season. Yeah, but for some reason, for the last couple of games, he have banging in the goals whenever you get the opportunity. But Jurgen Klopp last dance at Liverpool, last few months leave, but what a legend, where he picked up the club from, 7-8 years ago. And, remember, Jurgen Klopp first signing was Marko Grujic. I think Marko Grujic is a Serbian international. Yeah, first signing, Marko Grujic, Bobby Firmino, those players he signed, in his first spell at Liverpool, and where he picked up Liverpool and have Liverpool right now. Liverpool is one of the powerhouses in the Premier League. Actually, they are the team that always, getting City, running behind City in that title race in England. 3 seasons, they finished over 90 points. He only won one league title, and that was a historic one where it took them 30 years before they win it. So you have to be mentioned Jurgen Klopp name alongside Bill Shankly, yeah, one of Liverpool's greatest manager ever coached a team. So this man have won everything. But what I have to say, man, it's going to be tricky. It's going to be really tricky for Liverpool to, to rebuild back the team, because after that struggling season, finishing fifth last season, not finishing in the Champions League, it was a poor season. They did a whole lot of work in that back end of the season just to finish, in a European spot. So many injuries last season, and went through COVID. So yeah, the managers have been taking a toll, some hard hit over the years. Yeah, some hard hit over the years. So not really surprised, that he's going to leave Liverpool, but surprised it's going to be at the end of the season. after signing a long-term contract last season. I think his contract run down in 2026, 2027. So, yeah, the German legend coach for Liverpool is going to go, at the end of the season. But a few more results, in the FA Cup. Actually, Wrexham, the Hollywood owners will play Blackburn at Ewood Park later today. Yeah, so that's one of the big games, the last FA Cup game in the fourth round. Going to play today. They will play Blackburn at Ewood Park. But some other results. Newcastle. Poor performance again. Beat Fulham at Craven Cottage. Brighton flew past Sheffield United. 5-2. Leicester City beat struggling Birmingham. Leeds drew with Fillmore. So other results there, man. So the FA Cup draw has taken place over the weekend also, and some fifth round fixtures are announced already. Bournemouth will host Leicester City at the Vitality Stadium. Luton Town will host Manchester City. Wolves will host Brighton. And the Newcastle game, Newcastle is waiting on Blackburn or Wrexham. Leeds and Fillmore, Albury and Chelsea and Aston Villa. Any one of those teams win will play each other. Liverpool also waiting on Watford or Southampton. That game play at Anfield, and Maidstone, I said, will travel away to either Sheffield or Coventry. But the FA Cup resume. The fifth round will resume February 28th. But the rescheduled games will play the 6th and 7th of February, which going to be, I think, next week. Premier League will play midweek also. But we're going to move on, from England. The big news coming out from in Spain. Yeah. In La Liga, Barcelona got thumped 5-3 at home versus Villarreal. First time a Barcelona team is conceding 5 or more goals in so many years. I think around 57 years. Check 1963 until now. Around 57 years that the last time Barcelona have conceded 5 goals at home. Barcelona has been at Camp Nou, playing at that Olympic Stadium. But yeah, last 5-3, man. And right after Xavi Hernandez came out and said, this is his last few months at the helm at Barcelona. But Barcelona's out of they in the Champions League, out of the Copa del Rey, 11 points behind Girona, 10 points behind the bitter rivals Real Madrid. Can they finish and win the La Liga? I don't think so. Xavi said he's going to give it his last shot, but I don't think so. They're going to finish. But for the last couple of games, Barcelona have conceded the last 3 out of 4 games. Barcelona have conceded, 4. Conceded 4 in the Copa del Rey against Atletico Bilbao. They concede another 4 goals again against Real Madrid. They concede against Villarreal, even though they beat Real Betis away. They still conceded 2 goals. That's the thing. Barcelona was the best defensive team last season in the La Liga, where they conceded only just 20 goals. Yeah, but now they have conceded 29. That's 9 more goals. They have conceded, and the season not finished as yet. But last season and this season was a different season, where the Spaniard, Xavi, set up his team to defend first, then attack after, which is not a Barcelona philosophy. Barcelona philosophy is always keeping the ball, keeping control of the ball, keeping the opposition at bay, control the tempo of the game, and all that is down to the veteran, one of the best number 6 I've ever played the game, Sergio Busquets. And I think that's where Barcelona is failing at the moment. Not managing, to keep hold of the game. Now, this season, it's not more like a defending Barcelona. It's more like, a Barcelona trying to show, the real Barcelona trying to play open football, not knowing that their defensive game is not prolific, because, they're struggling with injuries in the back. The Uruguayan Aruro is in and out of the team, struggling with injuries. Kunde is another one. Christiansen is another player. So they're not keeping, just like last season, where they can keep at least 4 to 6 players that they're going to play in that back four. But the back four is all over the place. We saw a couple of games ago a young academy player from the La Masia. He started in the back for the first time. I think he is 18 years old now, making his debut at 17. But I think it was it in the Copa del Rey? I think it was in the Copa del Rey at that game against Real Betis where he made his debut. But things are just different, at Barcelona this season, and they're going to need some massive changes coming in the summer, yeah. But the big thing though, Xavi Hernandez, he needs to qualify for the Champions League, for Barcelona to get those Champions League funds from UEFA. That's really that would be a massive thing if Barcelona can make the top four. That's where Barcelona is at right now. It's I still can't wrap my head around it how Real Madrid let Barcelona won the La Liga last season. I just can't wrap my head around a brilliant team, but again, Real Madrid heavily depending on Karim Benzema during the time. Vinicius Jr. More individual. It's not like now where they're playing more collective football as a unit, play more team game. But Real Madrid though came back. They played Las Palmas, the team from the Canary Islands. They came back and won that game 2-1. Tushimani with the game winner. But I must say, Vinicius Jr. is looking sharp again as he came back from injury, for the winter break, scoring, in his last 2-3 games, scoring goals left, right, and center. Now Vinicius Junior is looking like that complete player. Yeah, he can score goal with his left, can score goal with his head, can score goal with his right foot. So he's actually be a better finisher at this moment. When he just started out, he was a little bit raw, a little bit confused, just raw, natural pace. But, his end product is actually getting better right now as I speaking. Girona also beat Celta Vigo, yeah. Rafa Benitez is struggling over there in Spanish La Liga, as he's a coach at Celta Vigo. Celta Vigo is right down there in that relegation where, let me tell you, where is Celta Vigo in that La Liga race? Celta Vigo is 1 points above that relegation. Cadiz 17 to 16 points, yeah. They lost 1-0 at home to Girona. Michel for Girona is unstoppable, man. This team, they get knocked out of the Copa del Rey against Mallorca, but I don't think that's really important for them right now. What's important for this team is to finish in the Champions League, and after they can think. I think Girona is more thinking of qualifying for the Champions, but in the back of their mind, they want to win the La Liga. But I still feel it's going to be tough because Girona next sets of games, yeah, it's going to be massive. Girona will play home to Real Sociedad away at the Bernabeu against Real Madrid, and will play away to Atletico Bilbao at San Mamés. So next 3 games of Girona, it's going to be pressure game for Michel Menz, yeah. But what Rafael Benitez can do this season, yeah, Rafa Benitez next games will be Osasuna and Getafe. These 2 teams, Celta Vigo haven't beat these teams in their last 3 games, so I don't know where Celta Vigo go from here. But Rafa Benitez, man, struggling, losing his last 3 games, yeah, losing the Copa del Rey to Real Sociedad and lose again to Real Sociedad in the league and lose against Girona. So let's see. But moving on to the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich, yeah. Bayern Munich, Thomas Tuchel have won back-to-back game after that defeat at home against Werder Bremen last weekend. Very shocking one. Werder Bremen, I think the last time they said they beat Bayern Munich, it was actually 21 years ago, around in the early 2000s. The last time they beat, 15 years ago was the last time they beat Bayern Munich. But this is a very statement win for Bayern. Actually, in the first 20 minutes of this game, you could see that the real Bayern Munich team, they played out of their skin. Yeah, easily could have scored 2 or 3 goals in that first half, but things kind of died down a little bit in that last 10 to 15 minutes, of that first half. But I must say, when Augsburg got that goal, actually in the 57th minute, it was an end-to-end game, and Augsburg almost got the equalizer, but a little mistake at the back, left Hurricane with an opening goal to score. And, some bad news for Bayern Munich. Kingsley Coman out injured with an ACL, yeah? Dortmund is looking intact with top four beating Bochum at home. The German international striker, Füllkrug, yeah? Scoring goals again. I think 4 goals in his last 2 games. Scored against Cologne last weekend. No score hat-trick at home against Bochum, but Dortmund have won their last 3 games. They're looking impressive since Jadon Sanchez signings, yeah? Ian Matson, another player that came in, is looking really sharp. But the big game, that I was talking about, the Bayer Leverkusen versus Gladbach, 0-0 at Leverkusen home. Bayer Leverkusen had 28 shots, 9 on target, 5 big chances created, none of those scored. 874 accurate passes. That's 92% passing accuracy. I don't know, man. I don't know how Leverkusen last drop points in this game. As you know, the gap between Bayern and Leverkusen was 7 points just 7 days ago. Now the gap is 2 points, yeah? That's massive. That's massive. Remember, these 2 teams come up in the Bundesliga February 10th. Big game will be at Leverkusen home stadium. But, we're going to move on, to Italy, some roundups. Juventus have dropped points at home against Empoli. Milik got a red card. He will miss that big clash in the San Siro against Inter Milan. Vlahovic with his 12th goal of the season. AC Milan all off, Bologna 2-2. That was a very intriguing game. Like, that game did super exciting. Loftus-Cheek with a brace. Since the start of the year, Loftus-Cheek have been scoring goals, for AC Milan. Is he going to get in that England squad for the Euros? I don't know, but let's see. Gareth Southgate has his favorite players who he want to play, for the England national team. Fiorentina throw away I don't know, man. Nicolas Gonzalez, the Argentinian, he missed a penalty kick. That penalty kick saved by Sommer, the Switzerland goalkeeper. That was actually to pull the game 1-1 and get a point in that game from the league leaders. But Inter Milan is so strong this season. Lautaro Martinez, is scoring goals. This is his 19 goals of the campaign so far in 19 games. Very impressive. Actually, I heard that, not much strikers are out there, but I don't see many strikers have been playing the way Lautaro Martinez is playing. People said, Hurricane is the best striker in the world right now. Yeah, Hurricane have been scoring, but Hurricane is in a team where it sets up for him to score loads of goals, as they are the dominant team in the Bundesliga. They have scored the most goals in the Bundesliga. They have created the most chances in the Bundesliga. So there's opportunities for Hurricane every game, but Inter Milan is a team, they set defensive as their priority first, then attack. But I must say, man, it's been a while. Let me tell you how long Inter Milan haven't lost a game. It's been a while. Lautaro Martinez scoring the last game, for Inter Milan to win the Super Copa against Napoli in the last minute, in the 89 minutes. So this player is banging in the goals, yeah? So his transfer market is 95 million, but that will run up to around 120, 130. And it's going to take a lot of money to price Lautaro Martinez from Inter Milan coming in the summer. But I think this is a player, Barcelona should look to sign, as I think he will suit Barcelona team. Real Madrid also need a striker, but Inter Milan haven't lost a game in the Serie A since September the 21st, 2-1 at home, when they got 2-1, to Sassuolo. December 27th, that was the last time they lost a game. And the last time they lost a game outside of the Italian Serie A was December the 20th, that Super Copa game, when they lost 2-1 at home against Thiago Motta team Bologna. But that race, though, the race in the Italian Serie A for the Scudetto, it's it's going to be a big call next week because Inter Milan is 1 point above Juventus, and I don't think Juventus can go to the San Siro and get a result. I don't think they can because they are not looking like the Juventus that we used to seeing over the years, with Chiellini, with Barzagli, Andre Pirlo, Marquise, all these veteran Italian players. And this team don't really have a man in the middle where, you can dominate the ball. They have Miratti, Locatelli, McKennie. These are not players that can go away to big grounds in Italy and dominate the ball, but I'm going to, peep over the fence coming next weekend to see what these, teams going to do. But Juventus have McKennie, 3 assists of the season, yet to score. Locatelli, 2 assists, 1 goal. Miratti, 1 goal, 1 assist. So not many goals coming from the back line. Actually, from the midfield, the back line actually scored more goals than the midfield. Gatti and Bremer scored 5 goals, together. So yeah, the back line is where most of the goals is coming from outside of Vlahovic and Chiesa. Yeah, Milik 2 goal, and I think Milik with 2 goal and Chiesa with 5 goal, and Vlahovic with 12 goals. So that's where the goals actually coming from, for Juventus. But the French league, the Farmers League, the league that, Cristiano Ronaldo said the Saudi league is better than, PSG have beaten. Not beaten, they drew with Brest, as you know. Luis Enriquez is coming under some heavily criticism, in that game. Yeah, but PSG is still comfortable leading the league over Nice, 6 points. Nice is on 38, PSG is on 44, but not many to report from there. I said my pieces already about Reggae Boy International team. Claremont, Shamar, Nicholson, he got that goal to equalize for his team to get a point at home against Patrick Vieira's Strasbourg team, but. Yeah, I'm going to move on to the Asian Cup. Yeah, some big results, in the Asian Cup. To be honest, this league is playing under the carpet. This league is playing under the carpet. Not many people is looking over them shoulder, in this league. But I must say there was a big game, just under an hour ago. Iraq was leading Jordan 2-1. But for some way, somehow, Jordan have came back and won the game 3-2, scoring 2 stoppage time goal. But you have teams like Palestine, even also Iraq, they are winning games, in the Asian Cup. But Tajikistan, another team, this is their debut season. They beat the United Arab Emirates in the run of 16, first time in the tournament. Yeah, Tajikistan, this team is all the way up north in Asia. Yeah, Tajikistan. How much people know this country? They won a penalty, man, yesterday against UAE, man. Shocking result. Australia beat Indonesia. 4-0. But as I said, Iraq came back to beat Iraq. Jordan came back to beat Iraq in that run of 16 game, but I tell you some fixtures that's supposed to come up in a couple hours from now. Give me 1 second. Pull up the fixtures for. Oh, this is not coming up. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, so there's a big game. There's a big game, at tomorrow, so Saudi Arabia will play South Korea, Youngmin Son team. The other game today, Qatar. This game going to be a really good game, Qatar versus Palestine. Yeah, Qatar versus Palestine. That game will be today. That game will play in a few hours from now, hour and a half at 11 a.m. If you're in the US, those games will be on Paramount. Yeah. So Iran will play Syria. Uzbekistan play Thailand. Those are the next sets of run of 16 games left. But yeah, Tajikistan will play Jordan in the run of 16, and Australia actually waiting on Saudi Arabia and Korea, in that game tomorrow. Yeah, so big game. Japan, one of the favorite, will play Bahrain. But the Asian Cup, man, is doing really good. But not many people is peeping over the fence over there, but I do. But we are coming to the end of the podcast, and I must say, leaving with this. In the summer, it's going to be a massive changes, for clubs, especially managers, going to move, because Jurgen Klopp announced over the weekend, Friday morning, that he will leave. Xavi said he will leave. So just by those coaches leaving their clubs by the end of the summer, in their contract expire in June. Not their contract expire in June, but their yearly contract expire in June. But what I must say, Jurgen Klopp not going to be at Liverpool. Xavi Hernandez not going to be at Barcelona. That causes a whole upset right now, because Mikel Arteta is looking over his shoulder. Mikel Arteta is a Catalonian, a man that came to the La Masia. Thiago Motta, former player of Barcelona, who is coaching Bologna in this area. Xavi Alonso, a Spaniard that's doing really good in the Bundesliga. Bayer Leverkusen, is looking to tie him up to a contract. No, they tied him up to a contract, but there's no release clause in it where, you can buy out his contract. But there's a clause where if a big team coming in the summer, he will allow to leave. Thomas Tuchel, if he don't win the Bundesliga, if he don't go deep in the Champions League or beating Lazio in the run of 16, his job will come under threat. Thursday, the Dortmund coach, his job is coming under scrutiny right now, because if they don't finish in the top 4, so you have some whole lot of managerial changes going to come in the summer, and I think it's going to be summer coming. It's going to be a massive one in football industry. You have Girona coach Michel is looking also over his shoulder. Everyone is looking at that Barcelona job, especially in Spain. Yeah, Carlo Ancelotti. Who knows what's going to be? Is Carlo Ancelotti. Is he going to follow up on his contract and coach Real Madrid coming next season, or it's going to be his last season? But there's going to be massive, with the new owners at Manchester United, Jim Radcliffe. Who knows if Ten are going to be at the Manchester United coaching pool? Pochettino is the next man his job is under threat, for Chelsea to actually finish in a European position. But it's going to be massive in the summer coming in for coaches, also for strikers. Teams going to be looking to get in strikers. Latour, I said, Osimhen is out there. Zirski, the player that played for Bologna, is out there. So it's going to be a big transfer market coming in the summer. But UEFA President Seferin came out over the weekend actually and said he is defending FFP. He's actually saying that the guidelines of FFP is actually, putting their standard out there, is actually doing its rounds, because, you saw smaller teams are sizing up with the bigger teams. The bigger teams is looking over their shoulder, can't sign players, just like Newcastle have loads of money with the Saudi ownership, but can't sign players. They have to be shipped. They have to be looking out to selling players before they can bring in players. So saw what happened with Everton twice now. Everton have been breached the FFP rules. Which I think other team, Nottingham Forest, saw what happened there. Down there in the lower league, Wigan Athletic struggling financially, Reading, another team, Derby County. So, FFP is there to stay, but the smaller teams, man, are coming closer and closer to the bigger teams in the European football. As you know, in all leagues in Europe right now, there's a surprising team in that top half of the table. Aston Villa and Newcastle was doing it. Aston Villa is still there. Girona is over there. Brest is doing it in the French Liga, in the top 3 position right now in the French Liga. Bologna is over there. Fiorentina is crawling their way back into the top 4, top 5. In the Scudetto race. Where else? Saw what happened in the Bundesliga. Bayern Munich is a threat to winning their 13th straight Bundesliga title, by Leverkusen. So yeah, the smaller teams up there. Stuttgart is playing really good. Freiburg is up there. Saw what happened last season in the Bundesliga. Union Berlin qualified for the European Champions League, for the first time. Also, another team from over there in the Belgian Pro League, Royal Antwerp, surprising team. You have another surprising team over there in Union. I think their name is Union. I don't remember their last name, but it's Union. They wear yellow and blue. Qualified for the Champions League. Also, they top of the league right now in the Belgian Pro League. So things are happening. Things are happening all over European football right now. But yeah, that's it, people. I've come to the end of the morning time. But don't make this be a usual habit. This won't be a live show every morning. I just, have some time on my hand where I just could do the live. But yeah, as I said, few games coming up today. Wrexham play 2:30 away to Blackburn. The Reggae international team, Salernitana, Trevante Stewart, wondering if he's going to play against Daniele De Rossi team. Roma will travel to Salerno to play in that last rounds of in that Serie A game. Getafe, Greenwood will host Granada at home. I think that's it. Those are the big games, yeah. But African Cup of Nations, Cape Verde will play Mauritania, 12 p.m. Then the big one, Senegal will play Ivory. Senegal will play. Tell you Senegal. I think Senegal play Ivory Coast. But I think I made a mistake in that African Cup where I was talking about Ivory Coast. I think it should be Cameroon in that segment, yeah. I think it should have been Cameroon. Should have been Cameroon in that segment where, Nigeria beat Cameroon 2-0, no Onana again for the Cameroonian national team. But yeah, those big games, the African Cup, Qatar, Palestine. But yeah, people, thanks for tuning in, man. I really appreciate the amazing support. If you forget to like the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, yeah? Peace out.